Let me blast off and let's get to it, okay? First live appearance, Secret Service Director Bales, OP in panic, VP tier list, and more. Get in now. Do you think the Fatah-Hamas unity accord would actually yield benefits for Gaza? I mean, I think it's a step in the right direction. We'll talk about Sonia Massey as well. Don't worry. That's on the docket too. Okay. Anyway, here it is. Let's blast off. Let the people know. Spelling error in your title. Sorry for being annoying. I don't really care. What is the American Communist Party? Come on, dog. That's like, if there is one thing that's even like more insignificant than like YouTuber drama that people will constantly chirp at me for not covering or whatever in the midst of like one of the most significant, one of the most interesting, one of the most significant elections in modern American history, it's fucking the new American Communist Party created by like weirdos that with a cryptocurrency scheme attached to it. Okay, I'm good, man. I'm good, big dog. You know, MAGA communism, it will rise up one day, I promise. I'm always thinking to myself, what does my communist movement need? And it's racism. I'm always like, you know what this fucking communist movement needs, dude? A little bit of racism, a little bit of fucking anti-materialist thinking, some spirituality. Hey, I posted your Discord and Twitter trying to find your old TWT video using a stream from 2015 Instagram, and your community has been no help. Reposting the screenshot, cropping out the most important part. What is this? Why are you trying to find it? I don't fucking know. I've probably deleted it. 2329 dead in Ethiopia. What? What does racism have to do with the ACP? The fuck? Question mark. I mean, there's like MAGA communists. What are we talking about? Like, are the dudes, some of the foundational members of the fucking... Stop! We're not having this conversation. I'm not talking to fucking cranks, okay? I don't even regard PSL on the election front. You are not going to catch me dead talking about some shit like this, okay? I personally love having these conversations. It's just not the fucking time or the moment right now, okay? Crank talk is not going to happen right now. You almost got me. You almost got me. Almost got my fucking ass, dude. You almost caught me slipping. Stop it. This alone is going to be enough for them to be like, see, he's afraid of our mobilization and our movement. So like, you know, you're definitely shadow banned. Didn't get the notification today or yesterday. It's because I start my stream at like random fucking times, and if it's just, don't worry about it. It's the smart notifications, okay? They're shitty. The Adelsons are crazy. Her spokesman, Andy Aboud, denied a recent report that Dr. Adelson was urging Mr. Trump to publicly support an annexation of the West Bank by Israeli government in exchange for her backing. Dude, they're such freaks. It's awesome. I think this should be the Israel election, because if Kamala Harris actually leans in, either because it's like on partisan grounds or because she has like an ideological separation from the rest of the party, which I don't believe the second thing. I believe the first thing because it's smart politics. Making this an Israel election would be Reagan landslide levels for the Democratic Party. You could literally put the most unpopular person, like the most unpopular person in the Democratic Party. You could put Jimmy Carter up there. And if Jimmy Carter was like, well, I'm the guy who's 100 years old, and I think that as the oldest guy, I was there when Israel was there. I made Israel, and I think Israel should stop bombing Palestinians. Reagan landslide. Americans would be like, oh, great. Okay, I know who I'm fucking voting for. I don't give a shit about foreign policy, but if the Republican Party is talking about foreign policy and the Democratic Party is talking about foreign policy, and that foreign policy specifically Israel, which is not necessarily foreign policy, but basically domestic policy, oh my Lord. I'm telling you right now, if they fucking did that shit, dude, if they did that shit, Reagan landslide. Okay? Reagan landslide levels, like I'm talking every state votes for the Democratic ticket. Every state in the fucking union. Because ultimately, people don't fuck with Israel like that, okay? I thought Americans support Israel. No, on the issue of, especially not now, but especially when it comes to the issue of like unlimited funds to Israel, like they don't care about the moral quandary that Israel presents in terms of like melting brown children. Okay, Americans don't give a fuck about that. We melt brown children on a daily fucking basis. We're the brown children melting factory. But Americans don't like billions of fucking dollars going to an objectively arrogant foreign state that is like not just like consistently showcasing their arrogance and entitlement, but also their sense of superiority, and actually having American politicians capitulate to that entitlement on a regular basis. You think the dumbest, most racist Republicans don't see that shit? You're wrong. Okay? The only people at the end of that equation that will still be unironic dick riders will be the ultra Zionists, like ultra Orthodox, and more importantly than that, a much larger constituency of ultra Zionist Christian evangelicals that have this like biblical reason for why they're fighting for Israel. Beyond that, you will not see a single fucking person go, no, that's a great idea. We should give them unlimited funds. We should continue to give them unlimited funds as they fucking dog walk our presidents, as they dog walk our politics, as they get to do whatever the fuck they want. I'm already seeing that shit with the Mike Johnson. Like Michael Penis came out and was like, if anybody dares speak out against Benjamin Netanyahu, we have additional sergeants of arms in Congress. Okay? We have additional sergeants of arms in Congress. It's like, bro, that's a foreign national. Like, that's literally a fucking foreign leader. Okay? Even if he wasn't doing genocide, which he is, the fact that like we are giving additional assurances. Aren't the ultra-Orthodox usually very anti-Zionist? No. Some ultra-Orthodox are, Neturei Karta and some of the others, are anti-Zionist. Some ultra-Orthodox are ultra-Zionist, okay? It depends. But like the notion that we got fucking a foreign leader, okay? Like, doesn't matter what country's foreign leader. But the notion that we have a foreign leader coming into the United States of America and being like, hey, guess what, dude? Like, I'm going to fucking talk my shit and there's nothing you can do about it. You have to give me unlimited funds. Fuck your roads. Fuck your healthcare. Fuck your education. You're going to give me the money so I can keep blowing up children. I think most Americans see that and go, I don't want to think about this anymore. Please, can we wrap this shit up? Like, that's what the normal American position is. The normal American position is literally... The normal American position is just like, I don't want to think about this, man. This is fucking weird. Like, it's weird. It's weird. What the fuck's going on? Why are we disinvested? That's why I also fucking say, like, this kind of attitude is also causing anti-Semitism to rise up in the country. Okay? It is crazy. Most Americans are not thinking critically. They're not like, well, this is an important asset for American imperialism. Like, Israel is an unsinkable military aircraft carrier. Like, they're not thinking about it like that. They're going, it's the Jewish nation. They say they're the Jewish nation, and they literally have like everyone not dare defy the Jewish nation's wishes. So they become fucking anti-Semitic from that perspective. Anyway, let's listen to what Mamala has to say. We're tuning in. I said she has no Riz yesterday, and many people yelled at me. Hopefully, this is her first campaign appearance. There's more people here than before. I think we've seen a lot of momentum for Kamala from young people, new people, just like specifically people that are excited that there's a new person on the ticket that's young. So we're going to be looking at that right now, and we're going to see if she can actually deliver. I don't have a lot of confidence considering, you know, I remember her 2019 campaign, but we'll see. You were being a little too hypercritical yesterday. No, I wasn't.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. It is good to be back. Thank you all very much. Can we please hear it for Leah and her extraordinary story and leadership?
I saw the 1834
do
poll.
God's work. They teach other people's children, and God knows we don't pay them enough. Let's thank him. And it is so good to be here and be back with so many extraordinary leaders, including my friend, the great governor of Wisconsin, Tony Evers. He's here somewhere. My dear friend, Senator Tammy Baldwin. And you know, I had the privilege of serving with Tammy when I was in the United States Senate.
There's no
And
captions,
she is
chat.
always fighting for the people of this state, and I know that the folks that are here are going to make
Do we
sure
have a live link with captions, chat? Maybe there's a live link that has auto captions on.
Yes, we are going to elect her back to Washington, D.C. It is so good to be here also with Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez, Attorney General Josh Cole, Wisconsin Secretary of State Sarah Godlewski, Governor Sarah Rodriguez, Attorney General Josh Cole,
Good. This one has
Wisconsin
captions.
Secretary of State Sarah Godlewski, County Executive David Crowley, Mayor Cavalier Johnson,
Oh, she's
and the
just
great
flexing.
State Party Chair Ben Whitler.
Bro, she's just flexing. She's like, look at all the names I can remember. This is a flex on both Donald Trump and Joe Biden, by the way. Like, no memes. She's basically flexing on both Joe Biden and Donald Trump right now by demonstrating that she is capable of reading and remembering people and reading names.
As many of you know, our state campaign headquarters are in this city. Yes, and there's a reason for that. The path to the White House goes through Wisconsin. Yes, it does. And to win in Wisconsin, we are counting on you right here in Milwaukee. And you all helped us win in 2020. And in 2024, we will win again. Yes, we will. So, Milwaukee, I want to start by saying a few words, and I could really speak at length, but a few words about our incredible president. It has truly been one of the greatest honors of my life to serve as vice president to our president, Joe Biden. Joe's legacy of accomplishment over his entire career and over the past 3.5 years.
All right, you're done glazing, Joe. No, wrap it up. Wrap this part up. We don't want to hear it.
In one term, think about it. In one
We don't want to
term
hear about Joe,
as
Kamala.
president,
We don't want to fucking
he has
hear about
already
Joe.
Surpassed the legacy of most presidents.
I can't be
who
alone
served
in this.
2
Wrap
terms
that
in
up.
office.
Wrap that shit up. Never do it again. Don't ever do it again. You're done. You're done with that. You're fucking so done with that.
And I know we are all deeply, deeply grateful for his continuing service to our nation. And it is my great honor to have Joe Biden's endorsement in this race.
It's so dumb if she basically runs with like, I'm continuing Joe's legacy over and over again.
So, Wisconsin, I am told as of this morning that we have earned the support of enough delegates to secure the Democratic nomination. And I am so very honored, and I pledge to you I will spend the coming weeks continuing to unite our party so that we are ready to win in November. So, friends, we have 105 days until Election Day. And in that time, we've got some work to do. But we're not afraid of hard work. We like hard work, don't we? And we will win this election. Yes, we will. So as Leah told you, before I was elected vice president, before I was elected United States Senator, I was elected Attorney General of the state of California, and I was a courtroom prosecutor before then. And in those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women.
Yeah, she's gonna talk about like, this is a solid way to be like, listen, as a prosecutor, I was not locking up black moms for truancy, and I wasn't actually fucking doing all the cop shit that you hate. I was doing cop shit that's good.
I know.
Okay? I'm telling you right now, if she fucking angled that for Netanyahu, which would never in a million years happen, but in a world where like she goes, listen, when I was a cop, I was actually a good cop and not a bad cop. And misleading claim says Harris jailed. I'm not even talking about the marijuana thing. I think it was like 49 people total that was actually jailed for marijuana possession. And regardless, it still doesn't matter. It's still fucking dog shit. And we don't even know if they were actually all black or not. But it doesn't matter. That's not my point. She's saying the same shit as yesterday. I know. She's angling. Okay.
As Attorney General of California, I took on one of our country's
She needs to be angling the top cop shit in a very tricky. This is a very tricky narrative, okay? Because of her, obvious demographic background, she has a significant advantage for black and brown voters, especially going up against the Republican Party. In the primaries is different, but when you're going up against like the Republican Party, then all of a sudden you have this opportunity to galvanize the base of support from black and brown communities. Beyond that, the cop shit actually probably plays well to the white voters who would be afraid of her as a black woman. The +9 educated white men demographic that went back to Trump immediately after the Kamala announcement in the suburbs. That's an important fucking constituency. Okay. That she is going to be able to win over by being like, I was a cop. I prosecuted fucking offenders, sex offenders, shit like that. So basically that does a decent way to deflect the many different avenues of attack that are going to come against Kamala Harris, specifically as a top cop, okay? Because that's going to happen. Republicans are going to cynically talk about how she was a horrible prosecutor, she was a bad cop, all this shit, okay?
And he is trading access in exchange for campaign contributions. A couple of months ago, y'all saw that a couple of months ago at Mar-a-Lago, he literally promised big oil companies, big oil lobbyists, he would do their bidding for $1 billion in campaign donations. On the other hand, we are running a people-powered campaign, and we just had some breaking news. We just had the best 24 hours of grassroots fundraising in presidential campaign history, right? And because we are a people-powered campaign, that is how...
No, you're saying grassroots in air quotes. 60% of the new donations that came through, 60% of the donations that came through Act Blue were first-time donors. And yes, the Act Blue donations are actually individual campaign contributions. So those are rich people, poor people, doesn't matter. Those are actual individual donors. We're not talking about the PAC money. With the PAC money that she gets, it goes up to like 250 million or something with like the people that said that they're going to actually pay into the campaign. But the 80 million, the almost 80 million in donations come from individual donors.
But to get ahead.
There is a max cap of $2,700 on that front. So no matter how wealthy you are, when you're doing it through the Act Blue portal, those numbers are maxing out at 2.7. That's it. Do you understand? So like even the wealthiest American, when they're donating as an individual donor, can only donate $2,700. That's like the maximum. A lot of people don't know this though.
And paid family leave.
I love this. Okay, good. This is good.
We believe in a future where every senior can retire with dignity. So all of this is to say, building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency. Because here's the thing we all hear.
Do you think Kamala will actually get the minority vote? Yes.
Is strong. America is strong.
Yes, dude. Of course. Like, what do you mean?
Donald Trump
Joe Biden was getting it. Why wouldn't Kamala Harris get it? Democrats will get. Democrats will always win. These communities, like that's.
Will weaken the middle class. Like, we know we got to take this seriously. Can you believe they put that thing in writing?
Olayemi put a great video about why she thinks Kamala's dead on arrival. Worth a watch. We'll see. I'll watch it.
When you read it, you will see Donald Trump intends to cut Social Security and Medicare. He intends to give tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations and make working families foot the bill. They intend to end the Affordable Care
I just joined. Have you said all that you want to say about Sonia? No. I haven't said anything about that yet. I just started and Kamala went live. We'll talk about that later.
To deny people with pre-existing conditions. Remember what that was like? Children with asthma, women who survived breast cancer, grandparents with diabetes. America has tried these failed economic policies before, but we are not going back. We are not going back.
I will say, remember what I told you? I like Biden's message, but I hate the messenger because he was dead. So like, it's still the same message and the messenger is not dead. So it's objectively better. Having said that, it's still not there yet, but it's getting better.
Ours is a fight for the future, and it is a fight for freedom. Generations of America's generations, and we have to remember this. The shoulders on which we stand, generations of Americans before us led the fight for freedom. And now, Wisconsin, the baton is in our hands. We who believe in the sacred freedom to vote, will make sure every American has the ability to cast their ballot and have it counted. We, who believe that every person in our nation should have the freedom to live safe from the terror of gun violence, will finally pass red flag laws, universal background checks, and an assault weapons ban.
Kamala doesn't read as a boomer, Chad. She's 59.
Who believe in reproductive freedom,
but she doesn't read as a boomer at all. She's very like youthful.
Will stop Donald Trump's extreme abortion bans because we trust women to make decisions about their own body and not have their government tell them what to do.
Kamala Harris is 59 years old, and she literally doesn't look a day older than 40, which is wild.
And when Congress passes a law to restore reproductive freedoms as President of the United States, I will sign it into law. So, Wisconsin, ultimately in this election, we each face a question. What kind of country do we want to live in? A country, and to your point, do we want to live in a country of freedom, compassion, and rule of law, or a country of chaos, fear, and hate? And here's the beauty of this moment. We each have the power to answer that question. The power is with the people. We each have the power to answer that question. And in the next 105 days, then we have work to do. We have doors to knock on. We have phone calls to make. We have voters to register. And we have an election to win. So, Wisconsin, today I ask you, are you ready to get to work? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.
Definitely a lot better than yesterday's speech. Definitely a lot better than yesterday's speech. You can see the energy reflected back in the crowd. Obviously, it's a little bit different than fucking a Wilmington office full of like sobbing campaign staffers that just found out that they most likely won't be able to secure their cushy position in the upcoming White House versus a crowd of people who are very excited to not have a corpse running. I will never forgive, and I will never forget how much the fucking media tried to act like damn near every Democrat, almost every Democrat that's like under the age of 78 was not begging to replace the fucking ticket with anybody. Okay? Kamala Harris is far from the most charismatic, telegenic, and you know, uniquely revolutionary Democratic Party candidate. And yet, the fact that Kamala Harris has brought out this much momentum for the Democratic Party is proof enough that like virtually everyone wanted this. Virtually everyone wanted this. And of course, it happened in an undemocratic fashion. Ironically enough, it was the Democratic Party for the first time in my lifetime actually operating like a party. And I fucking told you this. I told you that the Democrats were going to respond positively to any change whatsoever. Okay? Any change whatsoever. People were begging for it. And it only happened, and I can't believe I'm saying this, because of fucking Big Dog Pelosi. She fucking busted that shit out, dude. Big Dog Pelosi and the actual establishment Democrats were like, we can't do this. They saw the polls. They were like, no, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. What the fuck are we doing? And they actually did something very surprising. Okay? They actually acted like a party, not to rat fuck Bernie, as chatters are pointing to, which is, you know, correct. That is when they acted like a fucking party, like Labor in the UK, kind of. But this time, they acted like a party to actually abide by the wishes, like the stars aligned in a very unique way, where the voters' wishes and the donors' wishes and the Democratic establishment's wishes aligned. It was a very weird moment. I've never, in my lifetime at least, ever had this much agreement with fucking Nancy Pelosi and like the Democratic Party's like big ticket donors. Think about that. Okay. And of course, the momentum from this change completely eviscerated the Republican RNC message, like I told you it would happen. It is, oh my God. It was like, it literally just all the fucking cards fell in the exact same way that I told you it would happen. Okay? Nancy Pelosi this week, oh, it's the LeBron tweet, right? Yeah. 100%. No, she is. She's the GOAT. Nancy Pelosi came in and just basically said, fuck that shit. Okay, we're not doing that. And I told you it would be perfect to do it right after the fucking RNC deflate every fucking call for unity that was already fake to begin with, because Republicans cannot hold themselves back from being unimaginable monsters, okay? They love being monsters. They love being pieces of shit. And they immediately went back to bully ball. That's the only road they know. They went back to bully ball like that. They were like, unity? Fuck unity. Joe Biden is dead. Kamala Harris is pussy. We have to investigate it. How much damage has her pussy taken from taking abortions? Like, Mountain Dew makes you racist. I drink Mountain Dew, guys. Diet Mountain Dew. It's making me racist. Democrats calling me racist because I drink Diet Mountain Dew. It's like, dude, what are you guys doing? They're fucking crying to the referee. They're crying to the referee every goddamn day. They're like, oh, you can't do this to us. You can't actually play ball. That's not allowed. You're supposed to be pathetic fucking losers, destined for L after L after L. What are we doing here? That was the reaction from the Republican Party. And it is wild to me. It is wild to me. Because what did you expect? You wanted this to happen. You didn't have a fucking contingency plan? That's what I say to the Republicans. You don't have a contingency plan? You demanded Joe Biden was demented. You demanded he drop out for literally 4 fucking years. Fox News was the only news broadcast out there that said, Joe Biden is demented. Joe Biden must drop out. Now, obviously, they were saying it for political reasons, but they were not wrong. They wanted it. And now that they got it, it turns out they got caught with their fucking pants down. They're pissing against the wind. They're like, oh my God, we got everything we fucking wanted. And it turns out we didn't want this shit at all. Turns out we were not ready for it at all. Like, Joe Biden had a likelihood of dying, like a higher likelihood statistically than any other president of dying while he was in office. Okay. And you did not have a contingency plan. You did not have a contingency plan. The Democrats themselves did not have a contingency plan. That's why they went with Joe Biden and an uncharismatic person like Kamala Harris as the VP, because they wanted to make sure that Joe Biden, while saying he was going to be a bridge candidate, was never actually going to be a fucking bridge candidate, right? We obviously saw that when Brandon was like holding on for dear life with that old man strength, gripping the fucking candidacy for weeks on end after everyone realized that he was dying. But it is shocking to me that the Republicans, who in my lifetime are actually like, who used to be the winners, okay, ruthless killers and winners across the board, in spite of their horrifying, unpopular, cruel policies, they used to love winning. They used to do everything they can to win. And now all of this Trump populism has like completely broken the brains and rewired the entire Republican Party. Now they're just fucking losers who whine all the time, constantly whining about Donald Trump losing, constantly whining about how he actually didn't fucking lose, constantly leaning into conspiratorial thinking. And it is crazy to me. It is crazy. It is shocking to see this shit. I really think it's that they gave it a name that sounds like a bomb villain scheme. It's just called a new mandate for leadership. No way it breaks through the same way. If it was just called a new mandate for leadership, no way it breaks through the same way. Huge spike in awareness and rejection of Project 2025. Okay. I'm sorry, but the Bush era GOP coming up with shit like Project for the New American Century and saying things like we're an empire now, and when we act, we create our own reality was absurdly super villain coded, but it went hard as fuck. These guys just lack aura. No, I think that the think tanks have always lacked aura. The think tanks always lack aura. The Republicans are having a hard time with their right-wing populism, and TikTok also plays a pretty significant role in beefing up certain narratives, so much so that like it has a capacity to change the actual discourse. TikTok, YouTube, and independent outlets constantly covered Project 2025. We've been talking about Project 2025 for like the past 6 months to a goddamn year, okay? There's videos of me out there from 7 months ago, 8 months ago, talking about Project 2025. Ironically enough, my own personal opinion is that Project 2025 is not indifferent to the regular Republican Party. But the difference is everyone's talking about that shit. So, of course, people pay attention to it and go, oh, I don't want that. Okay? I don't want that at all. I don't like that at all. Did you see Dark Hassan's political commentary?
Okay.
Oh, fuck. All right, we'll do that in a second. Are you saying Trump ruined the Republican Party? No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. The Republican Party, if anything, Newt Gingrich played a bigger role in ruining the Republican Party than Donald Trump. Because Newt is one of the guys most responsible for culture war issues. Okay? Like changing the dynamic from like trying to at least present your best foot forward and say we're the fucking cut taxes party to like to being the party that personally was invested in just culture war shit. Okay? Trump simply accelerated that to its logical conclusion. He took it to the next step. He was like, oh, instead of talking about potential national security compromises that immigrants might face if they come into this nation, let's just say they're rapists. Like, there's just, why would I hide the real thing that I'm trying to say? Okay? And basically that's what happened. And that's what they've been going off with. Now, a lot of old heads will remember this, and some new heads might know this if they're like at my level of political autism. But Mitt Romney, when he was the leader of the Republican Party running up against Obama, wanted to be pro-immigration. The Republicans were like, maybe we should restructure our narrative around immigration. Donald Trump took that and flipped it. He was like, what are you, fucking stupid? Absolutely not. They're rapists, they're drug dealers, and some are very fine people. Famously said that. And then everyone was like, oh my God, I love this narrative. Oh my God. Oh, it's my favorite narrative. Okay? He completely flipped the script on immigrants. Mitt Romney was trying to hit that like immigrants are the backbone of this country. We should, like, he was trying to do like potentially even Reagan style amnesty. You know what I mean? Like they were angling, they were seeing the demographic patterns change in places like California, in places like Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, and how important the youth Hispanic vote was in capturing these states and turning them potentially solidly blue, which had already happened in California, obviously. So he was like, him and the Republican Party was looking to change the narrative around overt white nationalist sentiment, especially when it comes to immigrants. Okay? Donald Trump turned around and was like, fuck that, YOLO. We're doing the wall. Build the wall, baby. And people loved that shit. Okay? People fucking loved that shit. They loved it. Then they didn't love it when it actually turned into real policy. When they started seeing crying children, when they started seeing crying Guatemalan children wrapped up in that aluminum foil inside of these fucking facilities, they were like, okay, never mind. I hate it now. I didn't know it was like that. And then it was very unpopular. Because people are stupid in general. The American population is very stupid. I'm stupid. Everyone else is very fucking stupid. And let me tell you something, okay? Stupid people oftentimes wish that their policies that they're voting for are actually, going to lead to a better future than they are going to, right? And it's the same principle behind abortion. You had a lot of people in the Republican Party either overlook the realities of restricting abortion or outright demand it. And then when that fucking came down, all of a sudden people were like, okay, never mind. I actually don't like the fact that, blonde, blue-eyed girls in the state of Texas are dying because they can't get their fucking medical procedures done when they have an ectopic pregnancy, right? All of a sudden everyone was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I didn't realize it was like that. I didn't know it was going to be like that. And that's on the Republican Party. And that's why this race is on top of the fact that Trump is polarizing, on top of the fact that he's like genuinely a toxic person for a lot of people, a lot of demographics, a lot of constituencies. Abortion is a Republican project, and everyone knows it, and everyone remembers it anytime they hear in the news about another person having a hard time, having medical complications because they can't get this fucking medical procedure that should be kept between a doctor and the patient, right? The reason why I'm explaining this is because, and I repeat this all the time, Republicans don't know the impact of their own policies. Republican voters, I mean, not the politicians. Politicians are demons. They don't give a fuck, right? But the Republican voters don't understand how violent and virulently racist the policies that they're demanding are. This is why Project 2025 normally would never be discussed in mainstream discourse. Think tanks come up with idiotic shit like this on a daily basis. Why are people talking about it? Because TikTok was talking about it, because YouTube was talking about it, because independent outlets were nonstop covering it. The Democratic Party dropped the ball. Independent media actually picked it up for them and delivered them a gift. They were like, listen, they fucking suck, but we are seeing this. This is a pretty good fucking thing to maybe focus on. Okay? Now, that's why Donald Trump is currently saying, oh, dude, I don't know what this Project 2025 shit is. Yo, believe me, I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. I don't know what's going on here. Yo, chill. Everybody chill. Argued that life at conception meant going after IVF back in 2013. Dude from my hometown said they are two completely different things. No, they're not. And those people are fucking stupid. And half of the Republican Party is going after IVF. So that's the other thing, right? So why did I explain all of this? The reason why the Republican Party is in a state of panic actually is worse than simply Donald Trump. Their problems don't start and end at Donald Trump. Donald Trump is an objectively weak candidate, possibly one of the best to run against, right? Especially because it's not 2016 anymore. Everybody knows what it looks like when he's president. Everybody knows what he did when he was president. Everybody's aware of all of his controversies, and they don't like him or they love him. But people have made their minds up, and he no longer has that like outsider, I'm anti-establishment, take a shot in the dark for me if you hate all the fucking liberal bicoastal elites. He doesn't have that massive advantage, right? He doesn't have that no more. So now it's just a cult, and the cult could grow, but it doesn't seem likely because, like I said, people have made their fucking minds up over already. Like, he's already been president. People know what it felt like, right? So beyond that, though, the Republican Party still has the very same issues with populism and right-wing reactionary attitudes, because there is a base of voters, the evangelicals and the fucking MAGA cult in general, which is reductive to say in this circumstance, but like post-Trump, there will still be like almost a Chavista style momentum in the Republican Party of like people who are following in the spirit of Trumpian politics. Post MAGA, post Trump, the Republican Party is still going to have these issues where there are going to be people who are like, no, we got to be right populist, and then there are going to be people who are going to say, no, we have to we have to fucking, Twitter's cooking your ass right now. What is this? If JD Vance simply said Mountain Dew, it would have been fine, relatable even. That's regular Joe blue collar soda. What kind of sick freaks drink Diet Mountain Dew? Alienated everyday voter base with one line. Okay, fucking chill. I know Trump is claiming not to know about Project 2025, but is it still a concern? Fuck yes it is. Fuck yes it is. Are you crazy? Of course it is. Bro, Project 2025 is just the Republican Party. People think you have ties with Kamala. That's crazy. The only ties I have with Kamala is that I am just as policing as the top of the hour. At the top of the hour, I'm basically a top cop myself when I serve a 3-minute ad break to people who don't have a subscription. If you don't have a $6 subscription, if you don't have a free one in the form of a Twitch Prime, basically you're like a black mother whose daughter or son is being truant. You're going to go to ad jail. Okay? Yeah. You are going to be locked away in a marketing hell where you are forced to watch 3 minutes of ads. Okay. Now you can avoid that destiny. You can avoid that fate by subscribing or by getting gifted a sub if you're lucky. Okay. If you're lucky, you can avoid that. Maybe someone will gift you a sub. Here's a 3-minute ad break now, though. It's coming for you. I still think making this an Israel election would be beneficial for the Democrats if they turn around, if Kamala is able to turn around and at least on the messaging front, spell out an entirely new direction. Okay? I will stand on that. If you want to win Michigan, I don't think that the Democrats have any singular shot of winning Michigan without changing course, even on the messaging front, without any fucking indication that they're going to change course on Israel. They will never win Michigan. They will never, ever win Michigan. Maybe after 4 years of like the Muslim ban and like Trump being genocidal or whatever, Michigan might turn blue again. But this election cycle, they will absolutely lose Michigan if the Democratic Party does not change its attitude on Israel. They don't care about Israel, man. Michigan does. You're wrong. There is a fuck ton of voters in the state of Michigan, especially in Dearborn. A lot of young voters, a lot of friends and family members of Arab constituents, Muslim constituents, Arab Christians, Arab Muslims. But in general, there is a shit ton of people in Dearborn that will not vote. Minnesota is another one that's actually very scary. Michigan is the one that cares the most. Minnesota is the one that cares the second most. People don't understand it. Okay? Anyway, I've seen Republicans on TikTok playing the moment from the debates where Tulsi Gabbard gets her on the policing record. It's so weird that they're suddenly acting like they care about over policing and putting black people in prison. Yeah, I saw Republicans post my older Kamala Harris video when she was running in the fucking primaries against Bernie Sanders. And they're like, wow, Hassan is so based on Kamala. And it's like, dude, I'm literally calling her a cop. Like, I'm shitting on her because she was like kind of draconian, as cops are, even if they are reformist technically, right? And I don't think Kamala was. So like, I'm literally, they're all of a sudden anti-cop. Like, what happened? But you have to remember, you know, especially online, most fucking Republicans don't give a shit. Like, they don't care. They just like want a shit sling. What matters is it going to work or not? Okay? That shit slinging, that is. Leftists are so brain dead, and this is why we struggle to get things done. Wait, what do you mean? All I want to say is that the very MAGA office in Florida I work in is suddenly tongue-tied and sheepish now that Biden is out. Yeah. They got too geared up. They got too fucking geared up for a Biden matchup. They were so excited about the prospect because they were like, oh, he's so fucking old. These guys are such dumbasses. Oh, there it goes again. The Democrats being absolute idiots. The Democrats doing it again. Doing the dang thing again. They're just being dummies. They're going to have this carcass. Everyone's going to know he's a carcass by the end of this. He might even fucking die before the election. Okay? And that's awesome. They got nothing. They have nothing, dude. They have plastic straws. Supports massive corporate tax hike is awesome. Wanted to cap rent and utility payments, awesome. Back tax funded Medicare for all, awesome. Investigated fossil fuel companies, awesome. Go ahead, bro. Are you campaigning for her? Like, the funniest part about it is that, like, even fossil fuel companies being investigated, you can angle as like, yeah, of course I'm going to investigate scary big corporations. Like, obviously for this audience, this shit's a banger, right? 10/10. Would recommend, would do it again. However, even for a Republican audience, when you say wanted to cap rent and utility payments, like, the only people who hate that are landlords. A much larger percentage of Americans than ever before are renters. They hear that and they go, oh, that's awesome. Anyway, Elon rate limited Kamala's Twitter account. Trump lover Elon Musk is already causing Kamala Harris problems. People are having trouble following Kamala Harris's campaign. Yeah, this actually is kind of scary. I will say this much. All of the fucking tech CEOs are dick riding Donald Trump. And with the exception of TikTok, because that's, you know, Chinese warriors, the strongest warriors out there, the CCP baby. With the exception of TikTok, all of these guys, and I guess maybe not like Twitch either. I don't think Amazon is like invested in Donald Trump as much. Like, they're more of a 50-50 split, as they usually are. But yeah, you're seeing a lot of these social media platforms like openly ride for Trump. Amazon did unban his account a couple of weeks ago. No, that's fine. That's different. Amazon unbanning Donald Trump, like Twitch unbanning Donald Trump's account is it was ridiculous that they banned him to begin with. It was like a silly R move to do so when he was literally the president. And they never even punished me for watching Trump. And I've been watching Trump when he was banned nonstop. That would have been ridiculous. That was just a PR move by Twitch. But yeah, I am a little worried about the tech shit. Dude, the amount of right-wing ads I get on Twitter are fucking insane. Yeah. No, I mean, Twitter is like definitely. Does the average person even use Twitter though? Seems like if you're on Twitter, you're already decided. 20%, I think, of the American public used to use Twitter back when it was actually a usable platform. It's no longer a usable platform, and it's mostly right wing now. So, and bots. So I don't really know what, like, I mean, it's definitely, it wasn't real life even back then. It did have the capacity to impact real life because a lot of journalists used to be on it and they would get their discourse off of Twitter. So in that regard, Twitter used to have the capacity to like at least motivate journalists and mainstream media outlets to cover certain things in a certain way. Like the Bernie Bros narrative was entirely built on Twitter. Entirely. It was because journalists and politicians were upset that like Bernie supporters were very active on Twitter and they were like annoying them, right? So they would just constantly chirp about that shit. But ultimately, it obviously was not reflective of real life because like if that was the case, Bernie would have destroyed the primaries, right? Like it didn't work that way. Yeah. Also, red alert, Donald Trump has seen the polls and is now telling reporters he will debate Harris. I think it's going to be awesome. I think Donald Trump is going to try to pull some fucking Hillary Clinton ass bullshit on Kamala Harris. And I think he's going to look like a fucking asshole. 2 reasons why the Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump matchup does not align in the same fashion with Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris. 1, Hillary Clinton had 30 years of conspiracies, some warranted, some unwarranted, but conspiracy theories built around her name. Okay? Everybody hated her. And the 2016 dynamic was establishment candidate versus anti-establishment. Donald Trump was able to present himself as an anti-establishment candidate, and Hillary Clinton was uncharismatic and very much an establishment candidate at a time when people were just like tired of that and wanted something different, wanted something new. Donald Trump no longer has that anti-establishment bona fide because he was the establishment. He was the president, right? And he's the leader of the fucking Republican Party for 8 years now. People know what it's like when Donald Trump is president. So he doesn't have that like outsider aura any longer. But like I said, Kamala Harris doesn't have the same weaknesses that Hillary Clinton has. Kamala Harris does not have the same weaknesses that Hillary Clinton has because Kamala Harris is not married to Bill Clinton. Kamala Harris did not have 30 fucking years of conspiracies, some warranted, some unwarranted about, you know, maybe even an Epstein connection, shit like that. Like Kamala Harris didn't have any of that baggage. In many respects, her lack of name recognition and her being like a lesser known entity kind of creates a blank slate for Americans to point to. That's the reason why Republicans are having a hard time grabbing onto what they can hit. And the only thing they can hit is what they can see, which is that Kamala is a woman, she's black, and she's Indian. Okay? She's a black Indian woman. That, in and of itself, is the only avenue of attack they have. And that's precisely why they're going to keep being like, she's a DEI candidate. Okay? She doesn't have children. Why isn't she having babies right now? Like, that in and of itself, like constantly fucking chirping about like how she doesn't have children and how you're fake if you have foster kids or you're fake if you have stepchildren in a country where the divorce rate is like what, 55% or some shit. You are the most delusional person on the planet when you're looking at half the country and going, you're fake, you're phony, you don't have real kids, you have no investment in the future of this country. And if you're a woman that hasn't given birth already, you also have no future in this country. Great idea, man. Great fucking idea. Like looking at what's next. Are you going to start fucking talking about how, you know, people are fat and they deserve to die because they're fat? Alienate like the most American thing. Americans are divorced, they have stepchildren, and they're fucking fat. What else? That's the one thing that they haven't addressed yet. Like they're hitting the Monty. They're hitting every high note on like what Americans are like and just being objectively ghoulish towards, you know, largest percentages of the American voter base. So that's actually a massive problem for the Republican Party. Anyway, I have the VP part 2 today. We're going to do that later. Okay, I have that lined up and ready to go. I do want to address that Republicans are personally talking about Joe Biden being dead, which is like a fairly quick turnaround on that conspiracy, unless they get real active with it and have some fun with it. Okay? If they have some fun with it, I'm invested. You know what I mean? I'm on board. I think Joe Biden is dead.
President, how are you feeling? Mr. President, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? How are you feeling? Well, you come talk to us.
It's a body double. It's a clone. They cloned him. They cloned him. You're not beating the misinfo allegations with that line? Yeah, I know. We talked about it on Chapo as well. Or I think maybe we might have talked about it after Chapo. A lot of the stuff I'm talking about, we talked about on Chapo.
How are you feeling since you dropped out of the race, sir? Can Harris beat Trump?
Can Harris beat Trump, Mr. President?
Yeah, can Harris beat Trump was the question at the The question's much more audible than what he had to say, but I think he was saying feeling well or to that effect. So nothing substantive.
Also, Biden will, of course, address the nation tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you to my GOAT for giving me content. I'm very excited about that. But, you know, as firm believers that Biden is dead, this community obviously will be watching to recognize that, to recognize the reality that Biden is AI.
Substantial from...
I've been in the position of those reporters where you're desperately trying to lure him over to speak at greater length, but it didn't work for them on that occasion.
Well, they do when they want to.
But yeah, obviously the excitement surrounding the Democratic Party actually replacing the carcass is going to lead to benefits in the polls immediately. Okay? Immediately. And it's happening already. I told you. Watch this space. I told you. Just wait. Okay? Just fucking wait. I told you a bunch of different things. One, that a lot of Americans were excited at like anybody else, anybody but Biden. That's number one. Number two, I told you that post RNC, if Joe Biden dropped out post RNC, the Republicans would be in a fucking state of panic because they have been too geared towards the old man, and it would completely rip apart the RNC momentum that they were looking to gain. Okay? I say this is a pretty solid pickup so far. This is a pretty solid pickup so far. And it's gonna most likely get better too. It's just Kamala can't fuck this up, especially when it comes to Israel-Palestine. She has to change course on two things, okay? Immigration and Israel-Palestine. Because all of the other stuff that Biden has done and Biden has said he would do, you know, that's solid messaging. As long as she can beef up her charisma, as long as she can like maybe dial in a little bit, lock in, and be more charismatic, messaging on the messaging front, there are a lot of good policies in there. Okay? There are a lot of good policies in there. But there are two major things here. For Minnesota and Michigan, the Gaza situation has to change course, change trajectory in a dramatic way. That's going to be doubly difficult because it requires political bravery, which Kamala Harris, I don't think has, but we'll see. And it also requires Joe Biden to follow through because Joe Biden is still the president. Kamala Harris can say, I'm going to change course on Israel. Joe Biden still keeps doing, genocide Joe shit. That's not going to work, right? So that's a doubly difficult thing to do. All right? Every state that the Democrats have to win have had very significant uncommitted voting campaigns that were launched in a matter of weeks. If the Democrats are not paying attention to that, they are fucking dumb. And Democrats are dumb. And they're not exactly brave. But this brief glimmer of hope that I have seen from the Democratic Party actually behaving like a real party with an instinct for survival in this replacement of Joe Biden has caused me to maybe have a little bit of hope that they will actually follow through and maybe notice their weaknesses. On the immigration front, I am terrified. I don't think that they will change their narrative on that front, and I think that that is going to be a losing message for them. But on everything else, they're solid. This is why I kept repeating. This is why I kept repeating to you over and over again. The Democratic Party is not unpopular. They usually are, but this time it's different. The Democratic Party is not as unpopular as the Republican Party is directly as a consequence of Roe v. Wade. Okay? Directly. And yet, Joe Biden is, or rather, Joe Biden was That's why down ballot races were outperforming Joe Biden. But Joe Biden's stink was starting to hurt the down ballot races as well. That's when the Democrats came to their senses and there was a legitimate panic. Okay? That's why they had to move. I hope they recognize that this like slight popularity shift and the momentum behind a newer, more vibrant, more dynamic candidate is going to go away if they don't continue hitting hard. Okay? America seems to want to be strong on border/immigration. I've had this conversation a million times, and you can watch some of my other videos on this on my YouTube page, I think, because this is like it's too long of a conversation to have right now. I wonder if you believe what you're saying. Dude, she said America isn't a racist country. I wonder if you believe what you're saying. I mean, considering that I think, at least a little bit talented enough to be able to do like political commentary on something that most Americans find to be fucking abhorrent, which is like leftist politics, I could just as easily, if not infinitely easier, do political commentary on the Republican side better than any Republican you've ever fucking met in your entire life. Okay? They got no riz. It's super easy to be a fucking right-wing commentator. The reason why I'm explaining this is because, you know, if I didn't believe what I was saying, I wouldn't be saying it. Or rather, if I didn't believe what I was saying, and if I was grifting, as you said, why wouldn't I grift in a much easier avenue where I would make a shit ton more money too? You think I don't have, you think I don't have Steven Crowder's fucking level of talent? Steven Crowder was like looking at a $50 million contract and going, I don't like this. This is a slave labor contract. When you're a fucking leftist, they don't let you smell money like that, okay? They don't show you any bands like that. There's no world. Come on now. Why is everybody dick riding Democrats now? Because people want to win, dude. People want to win. It's just like there's a lot of loss that they've withstood under the carcass regime. Okay? Beyond Trump, that obviously nobody wants except for freaks and the rabid MAGA cult. People are excited for the first time in a long time that this is like now a dynamic race once again. This is an interesting race once again. This is a race where the outcome is not like completely determined now. That's a stupid reason. Most Americans don't vote on like ideological boundaries anyway. 20% of Americans vote on ideological boundaries. 80% vote for the party that they always historically voted for. And even those who are voting on ideological boundaries are still oftentimes in the wrong. So it's not all that stupid. I agree you have talent, but if anyone else was saying this, I would argue that the right-wing grifter scene is too inundated. Left-wing grifter is free real estate. You're the only one. Brother, I don't think you understand. I'm not the only left-wing streamer. I'm not the only left-wing grifter in general. There are a shit ton of leftist content creators. The reason why I'm one of the largest content creators in this fucking country is not because I'm a leftist. It's because I do something a little bit more unique. I'm not like a fucking rabid freak in the same way that like right-wing content creators are. I'm not like a gross, sweaty fucking loser. Hasanabi Mr. Grifting Live, yeah. Speak on Chris Tyson or get stage 4 pancreatic cancer. You? What? Why so specific? It's stage 4 pancreatic cancer? That's like the wildest. That is the wildest way to wish death upon someone.
We're going to begin with the news.
Like, you didn't have to take the long way home. You could have just been like, kill yourself. You know what I mean? Like, that's so easy. Like, he Googled deadliest cancer. He literally had to Google deadliest cancer. Go to fucking WebMD and then find like, that's some nerdy shit, man. All the Twitter accounts paid by Kick are calling you out, so you're going to get a lot of that today. Calling me out for what? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm not covering right-wing slanted fucking YouTube drama about a trans content creator on the Mr. Beast lineup because I'm a political commentator. This is the same shit that they did. This is the same shit that they did when like Cody Ko, leftists were yelling at me and they were like, man, I can't believe you're not covering Cody Ko. What are you hiding? And it's like, dog, are you fucking stupid? What do you mean? What am I hiding? I'm talking about The most heated political race of our fucking lifetime. A president, a former president running for president got shot 7 days ago. We forgot about it. That's how insane this cycle has been. 8 days ago. How convenient. I know. I set it up. I gave Biden COVID. I set it up in this way. I was like, you know, it's gonna happen. I set all of my traps in motion. Why have you not disavowed Cody Co's Vegas DJ set? Were you there possibly? Yes. I was at Encore. Anyway, I was licking all the doorknobs at the White House. I was running around licking doorknobs at the White House with hopes that maybe I have COVID and then maybe Biden will get it too. All right, let's continue. Majority of states have pledged delegates to Kamala Harris ahead of the DNC. She actually got the number of delegates she needed as of last night to be the official nom. Let's take a look.
The Kamala Harris campaign kicking off and a quick start in this presidential race. At least 27 states have now pledged their delegates. CBS News estimates that the vice president already now has the support that she needs to officially become the Democratic presidential nominee next month. And it happened on her first full day as a candidate, which she spent visiting campaign staff in Wilmington, Delaware. President Biden also spoke to staffers over the phone, notably not Zoom, the first time we've heard his voice even since he stepped aside. Ed O'Keefe is near Biden's home in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. Ed, good morning to you.
Tony, good to see you. We have finally heard from the president's doctor that his condition is significantly improved, and he is expected to go back to Washington later today. As you said, we heard from the president finally. He talked to his former staff, said stick with the vice president and help her win the White House. Walking into her newly minted campaign headquarters, Vice President Harris reassured staffers and reshaped the way Democrats plan to campaign against Donald Trump, highlighting her experience as a prosecutor.
I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
And in his first remarks since dropping out, President Biden called in to thank staff, pledging his continued support.
I think we made the right decision. I'm not going anywhere, and I want you to know you've always had my back, and I promise you, I will always have your back.
And supporters now have hers. More than $100 million raised since the president's surprise announcement Sunday, more than 58,000 new volunteers. And she's keeping the team together, asking top aides like campaign chair Jen O'Malley Dillon to stay on and Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer to co-chair the campaign.
Vice President Harris has my full support.
Other top Democrats also jumped on. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi saying she has full confidence Harris will lead Democrats to victory in November.
Everybody's going to coalesce around the vice president, and she'll be fine.
But some, including Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, have yet to officially back her. Well, Senator Bernie Sanders is withholding support until he hears more about her agenda.
We need a presidential candidate who is prepared not only to stand up to the big money interest, but to fight for working people.
Now, one of the biggest questions, who might she pick as a running mate? Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro batted away questions it might be him.
That decision should be made free of any sort of political pressure.
So did Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear.
The only way I would consider something other than this current job is if I believed I could further help my people and to help this country.
And North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper.
I think it's really important that we do keep the focus on her this week.
Watching it all are Republicans who say Democrats have rushed to anoint
Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries have endorsed her now.
Harris and push aside the president.
You got to persuade voters. You got to win their votes. You don't decide who the president is in smoke-filled rooms with billionaires and senior elected officials. You let the people decide.
That's a great take. Republicans famously, one, love democracy. Two, are angling for the Biden or busters. There are no Biden or busters. That narrative would have been more successful if Joe Biden was ideologically at odds with the establishment Democrats. If it was like a Bernie style situation, and objectively, even with Bernie Sanders, that narrative was not enough to sway enough votes for Donald Trump to win, regardless of what Democrats try to claim in the aftermath of the 2016 election. Okay? And it didn't work in 2020 anyway. Bernie Sanders campaigned both for Hillary Clinton, harder than Hillary Clinton did, and campaigned for Biden, harder than Biden ever did in 2020. So that is not a successful narrative in this circumstance when you're trying to be like, yeah, the Democratic Party, guys, you don't have a democratic process, actually. It's really fucked up. When 83% of Democratic voters are elated at this prospect, at this new swap, and further, $88 million in individual donations came in a 24-hour cycle after Kamala stepped into the ticket. That is insane. That's more than what Trump was able to raise after he got fucking shot, dude. You're out of your dang mind. Like, who the fuck are you talking to? What do you think about people saying the left is perpetually looking for misery because we are insisting on Harris demonstrating a more left-wing position on Gaza? There's two different arguments there. The moral argument, obviously, is that genocide is abhorrent. History will not look kindly upon those who are advocates for genocide, and turning a blind eye to ethnic cleansing is unimaginably cruel. Okay, that's the moral argument, number one. But the strategic argument for the election also remains. You have to communicate to liberals that states that are must win for the Democratic Party, like Michigan, states that are must win for the Democratic Party, like Wisconsin, Minnesota. These are states that actually have had significant movement in their uncommitted voter campaigns. It was directly a consequence of Biden's inaction and Biden's direct defense of Israel's ongoing ethnic cleansing campaign. That right there means that there are a lot of people who will not vote if the Gaza messaging even doesn't change. Okay? So the Gaza position, when I talk about that, I'm not even talking about it from a moral perspective. You already know that. You already know what my fucking position is on Gaza. You already know how abhorrent I think it is that the Democratic Party's lack of interest in doing the right thing is genuinely putting them at genocide status. Okay? You know that already. When I talk about Gaza, I'm tying it back to the election for liberals to fucking understand that there are a lot of people who are still going to refuse to vote. Maybe they were refusing to vote for an old man who was doing genocide, and maybe if it's a young woman who's doing genocide, they might be more willing, but there's still going to be significant margins that you cannot lose out on if you want to win these states. Okay? Especially young voters. I think you're overestimating the impact of uncommitted voters in the primaries. It is one thing to do it in a primary, another to do that in the general election. If anything, I think you're underestimating that because the real uncommitted voters just simply don't vote. You're wrong. And I said this even back then. Uncommitted voters that are voting in the primaries are uncommitted Democratic Party loyalists, like hardliners in the Democratic Party. You're talking about people who are so invested in the party's future and invested in politics, so much so that they're voting in the primaries. Okay? You're nuts. Also, Wall Street Journal is reporting that Harris plans to gut Biden's foreign policy and national security teams if she wins. Will be interesting. Replacing Sullivan, Blinken, and Austin is a very big shakeup. Oh, she could possibly take their line, and just because she's Biden's VP doesn't mean they agree on everything. It's possible for her to distance herself from him. I told you guys this earlier today. Okay? I told you guys this earlier today that the issue here is twofold, and it's a very complex dynamic. It's a very complicated equation. Why is it complicated? Because Kamala Harris has to demonstrate political courage. Kamala Harris has to demonstrate political courage, which I don't know if she has or not, and an ideological commitment to stopping genocide, which I'm not sure she has. Her track record certainly does not show that reality. She's been a solid AIPAC supporter, even though there have been some moments in her career where she has sidestepped away from the Democratic caucus's unimaginable dick riding of Israel. Minor moments, albeit still significant. Having said that, however, in terms of like Kamala Harris demonstrating political courage and willingness to change the administration's current discourse on Gaza, also runs into a separate trap, and that is Joe Biden himself. There's one thing we know about that demented old fuckbag. He is an unimaginable, unconditional, generational talent in terms of bouncing on Israel's dick. okay? He is doing Olympic level gyration like you've never seen, okay? So he might totally be like, yeah, I don't care what Kamala Harris is saying. I'm going to nuke Gaza. Like, you know what I mean? Like he is more of a, yes, he's more of an ideological fanatic for Israel than previous presidents of Israel, okay? And it's pretty funny because regardless of him bouncing on Netanyahu's dick, Israel still likes Donald Trump more. Israel likes Donald Trump more than they like Biden and certainly more than they like Benjamin Netanyahu. Anyway, so in terms of like interesting prospects or a change in messaging, which is like too much hopium, and I don't want to talk about that too much. Like I don't want to give you guys like false hope. Okay? I don't want to give you guys false hope. But there are some shifts happening that I like. Okay? Where is it? Here is Emma Vigeland. Wall Street Journal. Harris will meet 1v1 with Bibi, then skip his address. She's expected to tell him to stop the war and the suffering of Palestinian civilians. She likely won't keep Sullivan, Blinken, or Austin. Jim Zogby says she's shown far greater empathy for Palestinians than Biden. Harris' Middle East views will be in the spotlight this week when she and Biden will meet with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The plan is for Harris, dude, if she activates her cop gene, oh my God. Obviously that would never happen, but it'd be fucking awesome. Imagine she just goes ultra instinct. She just goes maximum ultra instinct and arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. She's like, sorry, I'm a cop. Lord, forgive me. I'm back on my old ways. And it seems like you've done crimes, sir. She does not like him having a warrant and not being in jail. That's what I'm saying, dude. Holy fuck. Trump is meeting with Netanyahu at Mar-a-Lago. Looking forward to welcoming Bibi Netanyahu at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida tomorrow. During my first term, we had peace and stability in the region, even signing the historic Abraham Accords, and we will have it again, just as I've said in discussions with President Zelensky and other world leaders in recent weeks. Peace through strength agenda will demonstrate the world that these horrible, deadly wars and violent conflicts must end. Millions are dying, and Kamala Harris is in no way capable of stopping it. Guys, you need to understand something, and this is very important. What politicians say, especially when they're running for office, and what they do almost never match up. But what politicians say is very important, especially in terms of politicians who know how to read the room. Donald Trump has consistently presented himself as the peaceful dove even in this election cycle. I don't know how he's able to fucking pull it off, but this is him consistently taking advantage of all the chaos that has unfolded under the Biden administration. And if the liberals' argument here is we built NATO and Israel has a right to defend itself over and over again, this is going to lead to people going, yeah, you know what? I do want to believe that Donald Trump could possibly stop Israel's genocide. And even though he is like a fucking unimaginable, also simultaneously Olympic level dick rider of what? Olympic level dick rider of Israel. I think T Swift would be a terrible VP. What are you saying? I hate this. I hate this because like right now, all conflicts that are occurring are on Joe Biden. And if there is Harris is likely focusing on securing the nomination this week and will want to steer clear of any confrontation with Netanyahu, analysts said, not least so as to avoid opening herself up to any criticism that she's weak on Israel. Harris's relationship with Netanyahu will be very different than of Biden, who is sparred with the Israeli prime minister, but also has decades of experience with dealing with him. Her husband, Doug Emhoff, is the first Jewish spouse of a U.S. president or vice president and has been outspoken on the issue of anti-Semitism, particularly since October 7. A Harris presidency could lead to a shakeup of the Democratic National Security Team. Philip Gordon, her NATSEC advisor, likely to play a central role. Gordon served as a top State Department official for Europe in the Obama admin and later worked as a senior White House official on Middle Eastern issues, where he was deeply skeptical of the plans to arm Syrian opponents of the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Key Biden appointees, including National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, Secretary of State Blinken, and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, wouldn't likely be extended in their current roles, current and former officials say. Over several decades, the Democratic foreign policy establishment has been divided between those seeking a more assertive role for the U.S. abroad and others more skeptical of military force. The Clinton admin dubbed the U.S. an indispensable nation and undertook selective military interventions to quell ethnic strife in the Balkans, while the Obama admin was more cautious about the use of force and balked at providing lethal military assistance to Ukraine. I mean, they still did it. That's crazy that like Obama is the dove here for NatSec advisors. I mean, NatSec advisors maintain the most Hitlerian politics consistently, you know what I mean? Obama did not provide military aid to Ukraine, only non-military aid. What? Obama did provide military aid to Ukraine. Am I misremembering? I think he did. I would love to come on to absolutely trash Shapiro. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about Shapiro later. I ripped into him last night. I might be thinking of the aid that they sent to Ukraine under Trump that they had to. I mean, they definitely had State Department very active in Ukraine during the Obama administration as well. Having said that, however, I think I'm mistaking it with the Trump administration, who like was funding, because the Azov Battalion stuff that happened. Wait, what? Fact check: Trump distorts Obama-Biden aid to Ukraine, calling himself tough on Russia. Former President Donald Trump lowballed the amount of U.S. military aid provided to Ukraine during the Obama-Biden administration. Comparing military aid in this administration to under President Obama, I was the one that sent the javelins, not Obama. Obama sent blankets. Oh my God, you guys are fucking literally. By March 2015, the Obama admin had provided more than $120 million in security aid for Ukraine and promised 75. Why do I listen to chat? Why? That's not lethal aid. That's radars, and it's still military aid, man. What the fuck are you guys talking about? Yeah, why? What are you talking? U.S. aid offer came after Putin in 2014 annexed Crimea to provide support for separatists in eastern cities. Ultimately, between 2014 and 2016, the Obama administration committed more than $600 million in security aid to Ukraine. Dude, you know what's funny about this, by the way? You're literally doing the classic bait. Like, there's a reason why these guys call it non-lethal aid or security aid versus lethal aid. They call shipping bullets lethal aid. Anyway, where were we? What is this? Dave Rubin is backing out of deleting his accounts. I don't care. Fuck Dave Rubin. 2 years later, Trump delayed the release of congressionally approved security assistance to Ukraine, yada, yada, yada. Okay, never mind. As the battle lines hardened in Donbass, a small select group of veteran CIA paramilitaries made their first secret trips to the front lines to meet with the Ukrainian counterparts there, according to former U.S. officials in 2014. Yeah. Why are we... Wait, I'm confused. Why are we fucking talking about Ukraine right now? How do we get to Ukraine? What was the... I totally lost the fucking plot. Is it because of... Are we talking about Ukraine because of the top of the hour? Is that what it is? Because at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. And the only aid that you can get is in the form of a gifted sub that will allow you to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Kamala foreign policy. Oh, anyway, ultimately, like I said, Donald Trump is in a very advantageous position. Okay? And you will not be in an advantageous position at the top of the hour unless you are subscribed for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. Here's a 3-minute ad break now. But Donald Trump is in a very advantageous position. All of the fucking Ukraine shit is Biden. Okay? Is on Biden. Everyone analyzes it as though it was Biden's fault. Now, is that completely true? No, I don't think so, but it doesn't matter. That's the way people see it. Will Donald Trump be better than Biden on any of this stuff? No, that's obviously not the case, especially when it comes to Israel, but it doesn't matter because is that how people see it? No, that's the reason why when people look at polls, when people respond to polls on who would be better on Israel, Trump defeated Biden consistently, sometimes by fucking 20 points. That is insane. Part of that is because Trump is not the president, Biden is. Okay? The other part of that is because people have a genuinely negative opinion on Biden, especially as it pertains to Israel. This should hopefully get Democrats to recognize that they cannot continue with this unconditional loyalty and support to Israel. Okay? Especially if they want to win key states. Having said that, I'm not going to sit here and act like Harris is going to be this brilliant foreign policy peaceful dove advocate. Okay? Yeah, Trump's peace through strength line is repackaged Bush-era neoconservatism. Harris will run on similar neocon policies with a blue tinge. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to like immediately start throwing daggers until I see her make some movement in either direction. But at least people are desperate for a bone, and if Kamala doesn't throw them a goddamn bone, it's not going to look good. It's not going to look good for her re-election. It's not going to look good for her election chances if she doesn't even change on the messaging front. Jeremy Ben-Ami, president of J Street, says the generational difference between Biden and Harris is a meaningful difference in how one looks at these issues. It isn't necessarily as much as a matter of policy as I think it is of framing. There's a frame for people in the generation of Kamala Harris and younger that is much more recognizing of the Palestinian side of the equation. No, Kamala Harris is still 59 years old. Okay? So I don't know about that. 7 major unions just sent a joint letter to Biden calling on him to immediately halt all military aid to Israel ahead of Netanyahu's visit to Washington. SCU, CIU, UAW, NEA, UE, APWU, Postal Workers, AFA, the flight attendants, IUPAT, Painters Union. Below is the full letter the 7 unions sent to Biden. They say recent reports only underscore the urgency of our demands. Large number of Palestinian civilians, many of them children, continue to be killed reportedly often with U.S. manufactured bombs. That's great. That's great. Light a fucking fire under their asses. Okay? We shall see. What? You've mentioned before that NATO states went to war with each other militarily, right? Like Greece and Turkey went to war with each other before, right? Both were part of NATO in the 1970s. Yes. Yes. Turkey has also done more in terms of like getting into active conflict with NATO nations. I think they were at both NATO at that time. But yeah, no, Turkey's always played the role of a wild card in NATO because I think it knows its like importance, its geopolitical importance to America's interests, its proximity to the USSR at the time, and its proximity in general to Russia now, and also other like adjacent nations. So that's the reason why the United States allows Turkey to do whatever the fuck it wants usually. So yeah. Now, I do not know. I do not know how much Kamala will change her narrative on Israel-Palestine, but this is pretty wild from the New York Times. The pro-Israel donor with a $100 million plan to elect Donald Trump, Miriam Adelson, long operated in the shadow of her powerful husband. Now, after his death, she's playing in politics as a solo practitioner for the first time. The part that I want to tell you about is that this year, Dr. Adelson does not have a specific wish list for Mr. Trump, 3 people close to her said. In contrast to when she and her husband implored Mr. Trump to move the embassy. Her spokesman, Andy Aboud, denied a recent report that Dr. Adelson was urging Mr. Trump to publicly support an annexation of the West Bank by the Israeli government in exchange for her backing. But Shmuley Boteach, a rabbi and a longtime friend of the couple, said he believed Dr. Adelson supported the annexation and considered so-called land for peace deals to be land for war. That's a wild thing, by the way. Just immediate minus aura points for being fucking known as a friend to Rabbi Shmuley. Okay? That's how you know how invested this person is in just being a gross freak. Straight up. Like, can you fucking imagine, dude? Can you imagine being like, no, Rabbi Shmuley is my friend. Like, I'm perfectly fine with the media reporting in the newspaper that Rabbi Shmuley is my friend. Yeah. Even diehard ultra-Zionists that love Israel and want to kill every Palestinian straight up think Rabbi Shmuley is a genuine, direct harm to their cause. Okay? They literally recognize him as like a person who is making everyone annoyed at Israel. And honestly, they're fucking right. Like anytime that fucker opens his mouth about Israel, it's like more people are becoming ardent supporters, ardent defenders of Palestinians. But yeah, just so you understand like where these candidates are. But like I said, big crowds, big momentum, big movement for Kamala. Kamala momentum is happening. Say it's commencing, sure. But here it is. VP vetting process begun. Josh Shapiro, Pennsylvania. Roy Cooper of North Carolina. Mark Kelly of Arizona, the only senator on this list. And Andy Bashar of Kentucky were asked to submit materials for vetting. I do not see... Oh, what the fuck? Kaya, quiet. Anyway, Ogles introduced articles against Kamala. Oh, dude, whatever. Who would be the best on that list? We're gonna do it. I will go through them again. Okay? Don't worry. But let's get to the fuck are they doing? Let's continue on the stories
Today,
from
the
mainstream
vice
media.
president heads to Milwaukee for a previously scheduled campaign appearance that now takes on a whole lot more importance because it's our first sense of how she'll be as the candidate on the trail. Here in Delaware, there is a sense of bitterness about how this all ended for the president. One senior campaign advisor saying, remember, the president was always in this to defeat Donald Trump and to protect democracy, but that, quote, Democrats on the Hill and donors.
Hold on, we're going to go in and listen to Schumer.
There it is. Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries do the damn thing and endorse Harris at the news conference.
We'll get back to you in a moment.
Great day for the Democratic Party and the country. Vice President Harris will soon be our nominee and will be elected president in November. We are brimming with excitement, enthusiasm, unity. On Sunday,
I'm about to do something super crazy, by the way. I'm trying a Dr. Pepper, 0 sugar, strawberries, and cream. I've never had a Dr. Pepper, a real one even. I've never had a Dr. Pepper 0. And I'm about to go dive head the fuck first into this possible delectable journey. We're about to see if it's good or not. This is my first interaction with Dr. Pepper in general. It smells phenomenal. I'm a big strawberry boy. I do like it. It's a little weird.
President Biden showed the world what a great man he is. His true patriotism, his profound sense of decency came shining through. We all know it was not an easy decision for him. But just as he has done in his entire life, President Biden's selfless decision not to seek the nomination put our country, our party, and our future first. At his core, he's just an honorable man, a family man, a man of deep faith. We love him. We truly do. I'll have more to say on President Biden later this afternoon in my floor speech. But President Biden's selfless decision has given the Democratic Party the opportunity to unite behind a new nominee, and boy, oh boy, are we enthusiastic. Since President Biden's announcement, we've seen the Democratic Party swiftly coalesce behind Vice President Kamala Harris. When I spoke with her Sunday, she said she wanted the opportunity to win the nomination on her own and to do so from the grassroots up, not top down. We deeply respected that, Hakeem and I did. She said she would work to earn the support of our party, and boy, has she done so in quick order. Vice President Harris has done a truly impressive job securing the majority of delegates needed to win the Democratic Party's nomination to be our next president of the United States. The vast majority of my senators quickly and enthusiastically endorsed her. So now that the process has played out, from the grassroots bottom up, we are here today to throw our support behind Vice President Kamala Harris. I'm clapping. You don't have to.
Oh, God. Dude. God. Oh, just no fucking charisma whatsoever, bro. You cannot find... I mean, I guess, like, the Republicans also suck, too, on this issue, the issue of Riz. But it's just, like, they are so objectively awkward and unlikable and so nervous all the time. It's crazy.
It's a happy day. What can I say?
Oh, God.
Together, we will keep and hopefully grow the Senate majority. And under future Speaker Hakeem Jeffries, we will win back the House. Democrats are moving forward stronger and more united than ever before. In just the last 36 hours, I have seen a surge of enthusiasm from every corner of our party, uniting behind Vice President Harris. An enthusiasm felt in every corner of the country, and it's contagious among Democrats. The volunteers, the small contributions, they're just pouring in in ways even beyond our expectations. Now, we all know that Vice President Harris has a tremendous record to run on. And now begins the next chapter in our quest to make sure Donald Trump does not become president. Today, with one voice, we speak about the dangers he presents to working families, to our country, and to our democracy. We see very clearly how nervous the Republicans are about our new nominee. Well, they ain't seen nothing yet. Last night, Vice President Harris secured a majority of delegates. Today, in Wisconsin and across America, we begin our next chapter, and it will be our best yet. Vice President Harris will beat Donald Trump and become the next president of the United States of America. Applause. Hakeem.
Oh my God, bro. He just doubled down on the please clap. It's a news conference. Why the fuck would the press? I don't get it. Is there even anybody there that's like actively like watching to hear what he has to say? It's just the press. Why would they clap? What? Not trying to dictate the stream, but have you covered the centrist takes about Kamala yet? Genuinely asking, I haven't got to see much of the stream lately. What are the centrist takes on Kamala? I don't get it.
Thank you, Leader Schumer. Joe Biden is a patriotic American. Joe Biden is a heroic American. Joe Biden is a great American. Joe Biden will go down in American history as one of the most consequential presidents of all time. President Joe Biden has made the selfless decision to pass the torch to Vice President Kamala Harris, who is ready, willing, and able to lead us into the future. Kamala Harris and her candidacy has excited and energized the House Democratic Caucus, the Democratic Party, and the nation. Vice President
All right, this is boring as fuck. There's nothing new going on, okay? They're just going, he's so selfless. His dick too large. His dick too fat. He did the right thing. It's like, it's just gaslighting, okay? Obviously, they have to say that to a certain degree because, like, they can't just be like, yeah, he sucks. I can't believe he didn't drop out. Because then it, like, kind of reflects poorly on the election campaign as well. Because, you know, criticisms of Biden reflect poorly on Kamala Harris. Because they're attached to one another, VP, president style. But it's just like, it's pretty funny overall that all media and everyone, like Van Jones is like crying on television. Chris Coons is crying on television. They're just like talking about this false narrative that Joe Biden is this historic person who's dedicated his entire life to making America great. And it's just, I don't think anybody actually believes it. It's just some shit that basically fucking, you know, you hear and then you don't ever think about it ever again, even though history books will write about it as though he did the right thing. Yeah, he would have done the right thing if he just like actually had a solid VP from the start, knowing full well that he was going to step aside and fucking stepped aside gracefully, maybe even like after the midterms. You know what I mean? Only 10 Twitter tabs today. Light research day for you. Yeah, famously, I love this narrative that I do my research on Twitter. I like that it's coming back because like all of the quote unquote research that you're, you know, making jokes about is just poll numbers. Like, I'm sorry that I don't have it. Like, I don't have direct access to the polling data. And instead, you know, aside from like memes and shit, it's mostly just poll numbers and journalists breaking news, you know, and then other meme shit like Elon Musk. We're going to be talking about that. He did the right thing after Democrats threatened to beat him metaphorically. Dude, he did not. He did not do anything right. Real men read Wikipedia pages after they make up their minds about an act of genocide going on and then try to desperately defend the genocide is good actually position. That's what real men do. And then they get fucking owned by dudes whose research actually, you know, are summarized in the Wikipedia pages. But hey, keep fighting that battle, baby.
Vermont Independent Senator and former Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders. Senator Sanders, when you hear...
Please don't use the place where presidents and politicians can make direct information releases. You should use Wikipedia. That way you can do a Jubilee video saying that Biden can win 2 days before he drops out. No way. Did that actually happen? That's awesome. Fraudulent. All right, let's talk about Bernard Sanders.
You hear phrases like that DEI hire already being used, or you hear an Ohio State senator today at J.D. Vance's rally warning it would take a civil war to save the country if Trump is not elected. What does it tell you about what lies ahead in the next few months in this campaign?
Well, it's going to be a brutal campaign. I believe that Kamala Harris is going to be the next president of the United States. And I think, Anderson, she has a chance to win this election big if we can focus on the serious problems facing working families all over this country. Politics is not a game. It's not about polls.
It was actually a video on Biden should stay in. Oh my God. Solid political instincts. Solid.
Or misstatements. What it's about is what we can do to address the fact that 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck, while the people on top have never, ever had it so good. 50% of our seniors are living on $30,000 a year or less. I believe, President Biden believes, and I think the Vice President believes, that we should expand Social Security, raise those benefits to make it easier for the elderly to get by and pay for the prescription drugs that they need. We have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any nation on earth. And what we have got to do is do what we did in the American Rescue Plan, is make the child tax credit permanent. That's $300 a month per kid. We cut childhood poverty by 40%. We got to bring that back because it's really tough to raise a kid with the cost of the child care and everything else in this country. You got workers out there making $10 an hour. Nobody can get by on $10, $11 an hour. Got to raise that minimum wage to a living wage. If the vice president campaigns on an economic agenda, among other things, she's going to win and win big.
Have you talked to her since President Biden dropped out? And if so, what did you say to her?
Well, I did talk to her, but you know those conversations are private.
I figured.
But again, I think, yeah.
Vice President Harris, though, has now been endorsed by at least 41 Democratic senators, 186 Democratic representatives, 23 Democratic governors. You've yet to endorse her. You'd previously supported President Biden staying in the race. Will you? What's going to take for you to endorse the vice president?
Well, I'm sure that I will, but I want to just chat with her, and I want to.
Why are a bunch of people asking me about Erdogan? Am I getting like Discord rated or something? What the fuck? There's like a bunch of people have come in here to be like, Erdogan. There's a big community of people boycotting him right now, and they're really annoying. Bro, what do you mean? Boycotting Erdogan? That's just called making less than $350,000 a year. Okay? And as someone who makes more, I also tend to boycott Erdogan, because why the fuck would I go there? It's the same exact shit that you can get anywhere else, just upmarked. Yeah, guys. Oh, man. Yeah. I'm boycotting mega yachts. Okay? I need you guys to understand something. I'm bravely and boldly boycotting mega yachts. Okay? I think that it's like, what are you talking about, dude? Yeah, I guess we're all boycotting Erdogan. I'm boycotting private jets. I have been on a private jet one time, okay? Because it was a free ride that I could hitch, and I did it in 2015, I think, or 2016. And guess what? Ever since then, I've been boycotting it, and I'm going to continue boycotting it. Canceled? I mean, yeah, people have yelled at me before. What is happening? Brave, thank you. Thank you for recognizing my bravery in this statement. I hope all Americans can come together. All Americans, especially those who are coming from a working class background, can come together and join me in boycotting Erdogan. Is that where you got the fancy Dr. Pepper? You think Erdogan sells Dr. Pepper? Are you kidding me? Erdogan sells PhD Pepper, okay? They sell their own version, and it's upmarked to oblivion.
Make sure, look.
Yeah. I'm boycotting Rolly watches, Audemars. I'm boycotting Birkin bags. I'm not gonna lie, the expression in this photo in the private jet is really funny. Yeah, that's this is from the David Dobrik vlog, the award show that I was presenting at. For those of you who don't know the fucking memes, the award show that he was presenting at hitched them a private jet, the Dobrik Squad, and they were like, "Hey, I heard you're also at Coachella. Would you like to, fly to New York from Coachella?" I was on shrooms. Bro looks so comfortable. Oh, I was high as fuck, dude. I was zooted. I was on mushrooms. I mean, of course, shiitake mushrooms. I would never do something illegal. Everyone sells plastic bags for $80. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Hold on. I don't want to if you're broke, just say so. I just don't understand who that's for. Who the fuck is man, I was wondering if we could make plastic bags more expensive. Who is this for? Who is going, oh, dude, I want a plastic bag, but I want to make sure that it's $80. That makes no damn sense. Anyway, let's continue.
This is a consequential campaign. It is, when we talk about the future of the planet and climate change, we have to make sure that we elect the vice president. When we talk about economic rights, we got to make sure that we elect the vice president. I just want to make sure that her campaign understands that for too many people in this country, when they look at Washington, D.C., they feel ignored, they feel insulted, that people are not understanding what is going on in their lives. Life expectancy for working class people is 10 years shorter than it is for the rich. And working class people want a government that represents them and not corporate America. And I just want to make sure that the vice president, as I'm sure she will be, will stand up strongly with an agenda that speaks to the long neglected needs of working families. And if she does that, she's going to win and win big.
Would you have liked to have seen, more of a, there were some, people who had talked about some sort of shortened primary process. Would you have liked to have seen more people having a chance to kind of throw their hat in the ring, debate these issues, talk about these issues, make their case, all the issues that you've just discussed to the American people?
Well, this has been a really weird election process. It goes without saying. I have not been overjoyed to see the kind of attacks against the president, President Biden, by the corporate media and by some of the wealthy donors, forcing him to leave the campaign. And I think a lot of that was just not right. But he is out of the race right now.
He had no problem endorsing Hillary Clinton in 2016. I have literally no clue why he's endorsing her. He also endorsed and fought hard for Joe Biden. I suspect the only reason why he's holding out is because he wants to get assurances. That's probably the only reason. Because I think that, no. The reason why he endorsed and defended Biden was not only because he's an old man, he literally would not even fight against Biden hard enough. Something that I yelled about endlessly. If you were here in 2019 and in 2020, you heard me scream about this over and over again. Dude, what are you doing? And he was like, no, Joe Biden is my friend. I like him. Stop calling him old. I'm old too. And it was just very weird. And the meme at the time that someone actually said yesterday was that when he first became senator, Joe Biden was the only person nice to him, and he just never let that go. It's the school shooter that walks up to the one guy that gave him a Snickers bar and says don't show up to school tomorrow energy. He's just everybody hated me except Biden was kind of nice to me at first. So I will just never let that go. I will always forever defend him. But that's besides the point. That's neither here nor there. I think there is obviously a reason why he's still holding out. And I suspect it's probably because he got a bunch of assurances from the Biden camp and he wants that commitment to be reiterated to him. You know what I mean? Is Biden has on the messaging front, especially in this re-election campaign, we didn't really talk about it too much, but Biden did adopt a lot of progressive measures in his policies. And I kept reiterating the position that he was the worst messenger for it, but the message itself was solid. You know what I mean? Because it was. I mean, a 5% rent control cap instituted at the national level is not going to be something that they can do, but it's like a phenomenal way to try to run a re-election campaign, because it's the most significant, most consequential thing. Every renter is like, oh my God, I love that. I'm a renter. I hate how much rent has increased in the past couple of years. Putting a stop to that is phenomenal. You are addressing directly. Stop making jokes about the $55. Come on, we're talking about the policy. Okay? Like, for those guys, for a lot of renters, like, you know, that's immediately a pocketbook issue, right? Immediately a pocketbook issue. But even the $55 joke that you guys are making, low key, is not even a joke. It goes, it basically is the same issue that I was mentioning, which is that he fucks up on the messaging because he is not the best person to deliver that message. He's too old. Bernie literally built Biden's cabinet. You would never get someone as progressive as Lena Khan appointed to the FTC chair with anyone else in power, and the NLRB as well. I think Sanders was a junior partner in the coalition. The progressives were a junior partner in the coalition for sure. And they did get a lot of FaceTime, I think, with the president. So they have this loyalty to him on top of everything else. And I think he wants like that same commitment. He wants that same commitment from Kamala Harris. That's what I'm thinking.
Kamala Harris is going to be the candidate, and I will do everything I can to make sure that Trump is defeated and that she is elected.
And just briefly, you know, several names have obviously been floated as possible running mates. Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, North Carolina Governor Dwight Cooper, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear. Do you have somebody you would recommend?
Look, at a time when we are moving toward an oligarchic society where a small number of billionaires exercise incredible power over our economic and political systems, I want
verdict on Dr. Pepper. I like it.
On a ticket which is prepared to stand up and fight for working class people. That's what I want. And there are a number of people out there who are prepared to do that. But that's who I would like to be part of that ticket.
This morning, the Republican
Trump campaign pivot strategy to take on Kamala Harris. So let's talk about the most charismatic man to ever do it. Okay. Let's talk about the guy, the man, the myth, the legend, Jedediah Donald Vance, also known as John Don Vance. Okay? I mean, my king, my goat. A man who was so unique, to the political field that he found a new way to be racist to white people that actually resembled like the racism that you hear from like black conservatives like Candace Owens towards black people. Like, he is Uncle Tyler for white people that live in the mountains, the mountain people, the Appalachian whites. Okay? Just phenomenal work. For those of you who don't know, J.D. Vance wrote a book. Okay? He wrote a book about how gross and disgusting and stupid the people living in the Rust Belt were. And then he sold that book, Hillbilly Elegy, to liberals. Liberals loved it. They were like, oh my God, how could this have happened? Can someone maybe from that background tell us about how disgusting and heroin addicted these hill people are? Okay. And then obviously that bestseller then turned into a Netflix movie. Okay. Why did it happen? Because liberals were like, how could these racist monsters, these hill people, vote for Donald Trump? How can we reach out to them? Maybe this guy will be the white working class whisperer for us. And his solution, of course, to these mountain people and their unique culture of defeatist attitudes and not listening to the right kind of Sigma Grindstead podcasts was exactly that. They couldn't pick themselves up by their bootstraps, okay? And I think most people in the Appalachia region despise this man. This is him delivering a rousing speech in his hometown, okay? Let's see what he had to say.
ticket adjusting to a political earthquake.
I was told I was going to get to debate Kamala Harris, and now President Trump's going to get to debate her.
Sources tell NBC News the Trump campaign and their allies have been preparing to face off against Harris for weeks, launching ads tying her to President Biden's handling of key issues like immigration and inflation, just hours after he endorsed her.
If you ever wondered how Joe Biden could get the border so screwed up, remember, he had help.
But President Trump lamented on social media over the
Bikers for Trump. This rally had a bunch of really cool moments yesterday that we covered. We'll look at the campaign ad in a second. Does anyone have the link of the guy that came before them that said if Trump is not reelected, then we have to have a civil war? There were three moments that I have to cover from that rally. Okay, one is him being like Kamala Harris is a welfare queen, which was awesome. Very cool message. Okay. The other was, hold on, let me see. I think Emma tweeted about it, but he said it in like a sneaky way, right? He said Kamala Harris is a welfare queen, but like also did it in like a very sneaky way so that he could be like, oh, here's first and foremost, here's the Ohio State Senator George Lang at the J.D. Vance rally.
Trump and Butler County's J.D. Vance are the last chance to save our country politically. I'm afraid if we lose this one, it's going to take a civil war to save the country, and it will be saved. It's the greatest experiment in the history of mankind. And if we come down to a civil war, I'm glad we got people like Schmitty and the Bikers for Trump on our side.
He said we need to do a civil war, which is ironic because he's in Ohio, okay, which was objectively on the other side, the winning side, the last time around. But this time around, they'll get it right. Okay? Obviously, the unity narrative was like insane wish casting from not even like Republican analysts either, by the way. It was just like straight up from fucking a bunch of dummies on CNN. And it never happened. George Lang has since then apologized. Remarks I made earlier today at a rally in Middletown do not accurately reflect my views. I regret the divisive remarks I made in excitement of the moment on stage. I had a heated gaming moment, especially in light of the assassination attempt on President Trump last week. We should all be mindful of what I said at political events, including myself. I just got excited. And you know me, when I get excited, I start talking about civil war and how we need it. How we need it and how the bikers will help us win it. Okay, for the right side this time. I paid to the Confederacy. Yeah, he said, my views are not my own. This was another phenomenal moment from J.D. Vance because it's like the least self-aware take you could have.
About our likely opponent, Kamala Harris, because, you know, she said a couple of days ago that I showed no loyalty to the United States, that I have no loyalty to the United States. Well, you know, I don't know Kamala. I served in the United States Marine Corps, and I built a business. What the hell have you done other than collect a government check for the past 20 years?
So that's pretty funny because, like, this is one of those, like, sneaky ways that you try to attack Kamala Harris and, like, be like, oh, she's a welfare queen, black woman, right? But you can always just fall back on, what do you mean? She's a government employee. That's simply what I was referencing. Okay. And she was a senator and then she's the vice president. You are currently a senator and you're trying to be the vice president. And also, where do you think the checks for the Marine Corps are coming from? Like, if she's a fucking government check Andy, so are you. Like, what are you talking about? You're literally applying for the position she currently holds. And you're like, yeah, that's right. These goddamn people living on the government dole. Also ironic, considering that he talked about how welfare is what caused him to not die. And also talked about the GI Bill that allowed him to get into Yale. So what are you talking about? Like, what conversation are we having? Anyway,
about
how's the Dr. Pepper? It's actually pretty good. Tim Walz apparently called him out on this.
But I know,
which I'm very excited about. We'll talk about Tim Walz today because he's also on the VP list of hopefuls, VP hopefuls, VP potentials. Anyway, there was also another John Don Vance moment. Obviously, the Diet Mountain Dew one. We have to cover that one as well once again because it was uniquely uncharismatic, like a shocking display of being a charisma suck. I tweeted about him as well. I said, this fake ass yokel has never tasted the sweet nectar that is Diet Mountain Dew. He ain't a real Dew boy. Let's take a look at what he had to say about this Diet Mountain Dew, his tight five.
It is the weirdest thing to me. Democrats say that it is racist to believe, well, they say it's racist to do anything. I had a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday and one today. I'm sure they're going to call that racist too, but it's good. I love you guys.
He's really doing crowd work here. He's killing it. I love you guys. I love you guys. Diet Mountain Dew. I drink it.
I think about
just like you yokels do. You country bumpkins. Is he more of a charisma suck than Ron DeSantis though? No, of course not. I don't think he's as bad as Ron DeSantis, but that's like really bad. I mean, that's pretty fucking bad. He didn't even do fucking like please clap there, but that's basically a please clap moment. And by one clap is worse than none. Yeah.
it's good. I love you guys. I do yesterday and one today. I'm sure they're going to call that racist too, but it's good.
It's good. It's good. Yeah, he's like, your whole demeanor has changed since Biden dropped out. You sound so excited again. I mean, I am excited because it's a fucking clown show that's like actually at least a little bit more interesting. But as a Dew boy myself, let me just explain something, okay? My love for racism and my love for Diet Mountain Dew are two entirely separate things. Okay? I just want to make sure that people understand I am racist and I love Diet Mountain Dew. These are two separate things. Do not pair them with one another. My racism has nothing to do with my love for Diet Mountain Dew. Hassan, normies are in here. Lamau, it's fine. I think everyone understands. I'm joking. One Mountain Dew versus 33,821 Mountain Dew. Who's the real patriot? Yeah. So, as someone who is a big time Dew boy, first of all, why did he say Diet Mountain Dew? Why did he say, oh, I tried a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday? It's like, bro, you are so fucking fake. You are so goddamn phony. You're so fake. You're so phony. You suck. Okay? You got no Riz. No Riz whatsoever. Anyway, let's hear what J.D. Vance says. Kamala Harris should be more grateful.
And when I think about Kamala Harris, who I guess is our vice presidential candidate officially, but I guess she's going to run for president now because Joe Biden dropped out of the race. When it take bets here, when it start a betting pool.
It's just so bad. It's bad. Dude, how did Donald Trump, who is like pretty fucking good at figuring out what works in terms of marketing himself, actually listen to his disgusting freak cokehead son, Donald Trump Jr., in terms of who he was going to select as his vice presidential candidate? Like, that is crazy. You know he's a fucking loser, dude. Your son, I mean. Donald Trump knows his son's a fucking loser. He knows it. He can't even hide that he knows it. He can't even hide that he feels it in his heart. So the fact that he actually listened to him and thought this is a great idea, and that's why he went with J.D. Vance, a guy at a time when the Republicans and Donald Trump himself has tried to like moderate his positions on abortion, talking about like, oh, well, maybe, it's a states' rights issue or whatever the fuck, right? Like talking about all this shit at a time when he's trying to moderate his own party on abortion and control his own party's messaging on abortion, turned around and went with the fucking guy who's like incredibly restrictive on abortion, who has no charisma whatsoever, and went with the like based Groyper pick, who is with a mountain of opposition with a mountain of Oppo research that liberals can immediately launch against them. It makes no sense. It makes no dang sense. Mr. No-Fault Divorce, like, what are you doing, brother? What were you doing? What a throw. What a massive fucking throw. You can't string 2 sentences together and he's not even 80 years old. No, I mean, he's fine. He's definitely a communicator, chat. That's not the issue here. I mean, he's done TED Talks and shit. Problem here is that, like, this dude is so extremely online. One, liberals made him, so he has a lot of anti-Trump sentiment that will be used against the ticket over and over and over again. Two, he is like, when he restructured his entire, like, persona, he went with, like, the Groyper memes, right? He went to Tucker Carlson. He was constantly on Tucker Carlson. Constantly, every night. You go on Tucker Carlson and be like, Kamala Harris is a cat lady who's barren and doesn't have children of her own. Like, weirdo shit. Do you feel me? His political instincts were awful. He did the Ron DeSantis shit, really leaning into the right-wing memes, right-wing populist memes. And that in and of itself, was awful. What is this? Address it? The top of the hour ad break, you mean? I will address it in the next couple of minutes, as a matter of fact, in a timely manner. Don't worry. I will. Because at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. I'm addressing it. For $5 or $6 now, Brandon's America, or for free with a Twitch Prime, you can avoid the top of the hour ad break. Okay? Here's the 3-minute ad break now. You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. Kurt Felines, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. It's a weird name, but I'll allow it. What's also funny about the JD Vance situation is this Atlantic article came out from Tim Alberta 2 days ago. This is exactly what the Trump team feared. A campaign that had been optimized to beat Joe Biden must now be reinvented. They locked in JD Vance as the VP, and now they're stuck with him. And he fucking sucks.
Damn, this guy's good.